think a good place to start here is this. Former DeKalb CEO Michael Thurmond. We're talking just outside the AJC Candidate Forum on Wednesday night. You're a Democrat. You're running for governor. Last night was election night, and a lot of people say Democrats had a good night here in Georgia and across the country. What's your reaction to those results?
It was a great night, and I celebrate Peter and Alicia for their hard work and for all the voters who came out and actually made a huge statement that people are tired of paying more for electricity than they can afford.
What, if anything, do those results do to color your view of your campaign moving forward? Does it change any of your strategy? Does it impact how you think you're going to be campaigning in the months to come?
It reaffirms my strategy. It's about the kitchen table issues. People want political leaders. They want a governor who's going to focus on affordability, reducing the cost of groceries, food, insurance, the basic necessities. Our voters are telling political leaders and the next governor of Georgia to get back to the basics, focus on the kitchen table issues.
Affordability, kitchen table issues, you've pointed to those as the key issues of your campaign. Other Democrats we've talked to have said the same thing. They're pointing to affordability. You're in a crowded primary field right now. How do you differentiate yourself from this crowded field?
Great question. Look, we can all make promises, politicians do. This campaign will be more about performance than promises. I've already reduced costs for people who have elected me. In DeKalb County, I passed legislation that is generating $1.6 billion in tax relief for DeKalb County homeowners. As a member of the Georgia General Assembly, I passed legislation that's still on the books that has generated over $300 million in tax relief for Georgia citizens. I'm going to take my record of what I've done and use it as leverage to create new opportunities here. The first thing I'm going to do is reduce child care costs. I'm going to increase the amount of money we're investing in scholarships for parents so that more parents can be able to afford to place their child in daycare centers so they can work to support themselves and their families. On day one, I'm going to declare an affordability crisis in the state of Georgia. I will direct all my department heads to begin immediately to channel all of our resources and assets to help working class citizens better afford to live, work, and play here in this state.
Does that include deploying some of the state's surplus?
It's surplus, but it's also streamlining wasteful government spending. It's about using the dollars we have more effectively. It's about redirecting money focused on helping working citizens do better. It's about creating affordable health care, supporting our rural hospitals, and building a 21st century AI proficient workforce. Think about it, Zach. We can ship jobs overseas, and I was on a call, it was in India. If we can ship jobs to India, we can ship jobs to South Georgia. If we can educate and prepare this workforce, I want to create the most AI proficient workforce in America. We can use our technical colleges, our 2-year institutions, as well as 4-year. And I want all of our workers to go back to work, to go back to school, to become AI efficient. And so what we can do it with no cost. There is a rule in Georgia now that if you are in a demand profession, you can go to technical college for free. I will retrain Georgia's workforce of the future as well as our current workforce. We will be the most AI proficient and the most attractive workforce on the planet, and I'll particularly focus on doing that in rural Georgia.
Let me ask you 2 last questions here because we want to be respectful of your time. The first is this. One person you haven't brought up yet is President Donald Trump. There are Democrats inside the party base who have said they want to see more fight, more combating of the Trump administration from their leaders. Do you agree with that take?
I will fight for Georgia. If that's President Trump, I will fight against his efforts to roll back health care, to roll back food assistance, to roll back public education. We'll stand and fight, but it's more than just fight. It's not just who you're fighting against, but who will you fight for? I'm going to fight for senior citizens. I'm going to fight for mothers and fathers who want a good education for their children. I'm going to fight for everyday Georgia citizens. Yes, We'll push back and fight against Donald Trump, but if you elect Mike Thurmond, you will have a governor that's going to not just fight against Trump, but he will fight for you.
Let's end here. We mentioned this earlier, but we're outside of the AJC Candidate Forum. They just released a poll, and I'm opening my notebook because I want to get this right. AJC released a poll of likely Democratic primary voters. It had you at 11% support. In second place, but at 11% support. Do those numbers worry you at all?
No, actually, in a crowded primary with 7 candidates, the top 2 end up in the runoff. So actually, it's a win for my campaign.
Is that how you see it, a race for the runoff?
Oh yeah, it's going to be very difficult for one candidate to win this race outright. But it's early, it's interesting, but the poll that really matters is the poll that's going to happen next May and in November. How many people really expected a 20% victory for Democrats last night? I didn't see that in any of the polling. What this poll tells me is that 40% of Democratic voters have not made a decision. Our job is to take this campaign north, south, east, and west, to put boots on the ground in rural Georgia, in urban Georgia, in suburban Georgia, and convince those voters that I am qualified, I'm excited, I'm ready to take on the job, the toughest job in Georgia, which is being the governor.
I think that's a good place to end it. Former DeKalb County CEO Michael Thurmond. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, Zach.
Always appreciate it.
All right, thank you.